Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Happy New Year. Hope you've all had a good holiday season, had a nice little break and rested and recovered. I was hoping to make a bit more content over that time. By a bit more, I mean, well, any. But with one thing and another and a need for some, frankly, rest, I decided not to. But here we are. We're sort of trying to get back into a rhythm with the new year, and it's going to take a little bit longer to actually find that rhythm, but we will get there. In the meantime, I would thoroughly recommend the notification bell to you. For those wondering on the live stream front, we'll probably get back to that next week. Not the 6th, the week after that, so just over a week. Maybe next weekend, we'll see, but probably around about then, as, Life, the Universe and everything, and flying hither and thither is still going on at the moment. So, yeah, hopefully that rhythm will actually settle down before too long. But anyway, with all that out of the way, let's kick off the shiny new year, 2025, with a look at some very, very cool best builds. Okay, so camp number 1, we're down in Skyline Valley. In fact, a couple of camps today are down in Skyline Valley. And we're over by the lake here. Weirdly, I'm semi-sure, or kind of feel like the map and reality don't quite line up with the positionings here. But anyway, there is an island in the middle of this here lake, and just behind it, a waterfall with a cave hidden behind it. And this is somewhere I wanted to build a while ago, but I have to point the finger at, well, I'm not sure if it's Bethesda or Double 11 on this one, because it was one of those two groups who designed this spot. But it's a cool idea that is not as practical to build in as it could have been. They could have better anticipated players' use of the space, I think. I don't think it's a great leap there. But anyway, we'll get back to that in a minute. Really like the build that's in this place anyway. Love the contrast between the red brick and the rustic greenhouse pieces. I particularly like the greenhouse pieces, actually. I find them pretty cool to include in builds. I use them myself quite regularly. This sort of shape kind of reminds me of something I did a while ago using log cabin stuff rather than the brick. But the contrast between the windows and the shapes to really kind of make different sections of the building stand out is quite cool. I might personally have cut a few corners off here and there to kind of change up the ground floor shape a little bit. But it works, so, nitpickiness. Little practical space in the corner. Here's something we don't see every day. This covered bridge set being used as an actual bridge, as opposed to, like, an entranceway or something like that. So that's kind of fun. Definitely looks good there. I'm guessing it's doing a little bit of work holding up the rest of the camp, given that we're out over water here. Let's head on inside. Quite an open space in here. Some cool use of an interesting combo of bits and pieces. I've actually seen a couple of builds recently that do some interesting spins on some of the stuff in here. Really, really nice kitchen setup using the white kitchen here. I generally use the blue one myself, but this white one does work quite nicely. It gives it a clean vibe. There is some top-tier merging going on here. I really, really like the use of the cooking station merged in there. I would imagine the snapping would be a challenge, but maybe not. Either way, that's one I need to remember, that trick, because that particular cooking station merged into the top there looks excellent. Could be a tiny little bit further back, maybe. But yeah, really, really cool. Not completely sold on merging the display case in there, but the cooking station there looks great. I think it's really, really cool. Kitchen on the whole looks pretty cool as well. I like that little pathway through the middle with the different textured floor as well. Kind of divides the sections off and gives you a central walkway, which is quite nicely done. Kind of sections off the open plan layout, which is a good technique, that one, using different coloured floors for that. Interesting little gaming area here. Kind of highlights just how much the sort of gaming options we have in 76 don't really match up sometimes, but still cool. Nice little hangout space. I love the way the cliff edge at the back here is functioning as a back wall. It's something I've wanted to do in the past, and you often end up with this sort of doesn't quite match up, doesn't quite mesh up feel to it, and there's a big gap between the roof and the improvised back wall. But in this case, it's working quite nicely, so I'm quite impressed with that. Yeah, lots of cool bits and pieces of detail. We'll head through the secret door into the bedroom. That is a weirdly fast animation on that door. And here we go. Nice little bedroom. I do like that painting there. The painting doorway that we'll go through in just a second. It's weird and I never feel like I've got the right place to put it in, but I do like it as an object. That bed, though, is definitely a bit on the small side for my taste. Love the idea here for the bathroom, though. Using the waterfall as a shower, I imagine, makes a very, very cold shower. But it's a really, really cool effect, and like the wet room vibe works well. It's a good idea, that. I like it a lot. Making use of the environment inside the structure. Yeah, my bed just looks too small. They always look too small. They look like kids' beds, obviously, and yeah, we've outgrown them. So, yeah, I might have gone a different road on that one, but then again, the other beds have issues with the bedding choices, so... Hey-ho, what can you do? Nice little Nuka-Cola vending space here. Some more really cool merging going on, particularly with that gummy machine, sweet machine, whatever the thing sticking out the top there, the red thing with the ball on top of it. Don't know what to call it there. And we head through into the sort of kind of maybe hidden cave area. So, yeah, the interest of this is underwater, and as such, what with foundations and stairs and controllers and things, a little bit challenging to actually get into. You can see with no... trying to go slowly and stuff, I'm floating around in the wrong direction here, but we'll get in there in just a moment. There we go. We're under the lentil. Nice. So this cave is really the feature of the whole thing, and hats off to our builder here, who has done an amazing job of getting everything in here. Unfortunately, you'll see in a few spots where things have had to be glitched into the ground, and things have been really shoehorned in the back there, and are kind of bouncing on some floating rugs from the look of it. Impressive work on the part of the builder. Less impressive work on the part of the devs who designed the space, because it's a cool hidden cave. Obviously people are going to want to build in here. That shouldn't come as a shock to anybody. And they've shoved a few bits and pieces in here that make that kind of a nightmare to do. Like the guitar thing there, and a couple of other bits as well. This could have been a really, really cool place to build a hidden camp, but they've just kind of made it very, very difficult. You can sort of see there's a bit of floating going on there as well. And I don't imagine the armor bench that's tucked in there is very functional. I could be wrong on that, though. But, yeah, I feel like an opportunity was missed there. It's definitely a cool space, and the player here has done a great job on it, but I feel like that was probably more of a struggle than it ought to have been. I don't know. Maybe that's just my take, but, yeah, I did want to build there myself, but I very quickly realised that the juice was not worth the squeeze, as they say. So, yeah, I am quite impressed with this camp, though. I like that little fireplace as well. It blends in quite well. Almost disappears into the rock face behind it, and sort of visually speaking, so that's always a nice little addition as well. I think that feature of using the cliff edge as the back wall works particularly well when oft it does not. So, yeah, definitely an impressive build to kick things off. I need to make use of those flowers on occasion, if I've got them. Big if. But I do like those as well. They create a nice effect. Very, very cool camp to kick things off with, I think. Build number 2. We are leaving Skyline Valley, heading to the Ash Heap for this one. We have a little garage build just near the Rusty Pick, as you can see, and this one's coming from Zeus. I think he would pronounce that. If not, well, I have no idea, honestly. However, darn cool build. I really like this one. I think we've got a weather machine going on somewhere here, because the Ash Heap's not normally quite so red. It was a few weeks ago that I found this one, so I can't remember if I was checking it out at night or not. Either way, it works. I really like a lot of the little bits and pieces in this one, and it is jam-packed with details, and it really does look like it belongs in the Ash Heap, so it's always very, very cool as well. Admittedly, the green plants on that car and the butterfly enclosure behind it, maybe not quite the right colour, but the darkness kind of takes the edge off that a bit, so that's that helps. That car is a really, really cool thing with it being overgrown like that, but outside of Atlantic City, it doesn't look like it's the right colour scheme. And guess what? You can't build in Atlantic City, so why was it not made to look like it's going to fit in Appalachia? Bit of an oversight, I think. I assume it's just a combination of assets that needed recolouring. However, lots of really cool details that really work with a scrappy, junkyardy kind of auto shop here. Like the red rocket bin around there and the junkyard fountain. It's definitely nice additions. And we've gone past it now, but there's a little ashtray on the corner of the building there with a fire on the top of it. It makes for a really kind of cool improvised sort of standing torch. There are other options for standing torches, of course, but that one works really well, and I picked up those fires recently. So definitely going to have a play around with those at some point. Like the little red rocket collector on there. Not quite sure why it's been merged in a little bit, but it has, and it works. We'll take a quick peek around the back, because we've got some cool reverse junk fences used to kind of camouflage to some degree the back surface of the foundations there, which are always a bit iffy. Obviously got the ground falling away there, plus a raised area at the back inside. So, yeah, it does leave you with the face of some of those foundations exposed, which doesn't always look the best. Not much you can do about it. You either do it or you don't. But, yeah, they've done a really, really good job of incorporating it and kind of disguising that. So much detail around here, squeezed into that corner, and I think you can access everything you need to access. Lots of bits of detail. some workbenches merged into tables here, and I see what they're going for. I think personally I might have chosen a different object to merge the workbenches into. Partly because some of these workbenches have fire on them, and a wooden table on fire is going to go fairly predictably, I should imagine. And also because it leaves the wooden surface of the table clipping through sinks, and then you just wind up with wood in the bottom of the sink. I don't really like that look myself. Mind you, not my camp, so do what you like, I suppose. Do like that little power armor display there, that's really cool. I've got a couple more workbenches merged into tables here. These, I think, work a little bit better. They definitely sit nice and flush. There's some nice precision work done there. I think this armor bench both works really, really well. It makes sense because there's a foot switch to power the sewing machine, I guess, on that one. So you kind of need access to that, logically. But you could also hide the whole thing. It's kind of one of the cooler workbenches anyway, so I feel like it kind of doesn't need merging. But it then matches everything else, so swings and roundabouts. Speaking of workbenches, this little crafting area for the car repairs is really cool. There's some awesome glitching on that piece on the wall there. We did discuss this in a previous video, and I've forgotten what they, how exactly that's achieved. I should go back and read those comments again to remind myself, but yeah, that always looks cool, and it's quite awkward to pull off, so yeah, quite impressive. Nice little bathroom tucked in the corner, lots of detail in there. Lots of detail is the vibe for this particular camp, and it is quite impressive for it. This car is actually a weapons workbench, which I passed on thus far, I should say, because it's really, really cool in this situation, in a garage, as the centerpiece of a build. However, in any other situation, it's going to look out of place, in my view. So, yeah, it's a bit of a one-off type thing. If the player who's built this is staying here, I would fully understand why. Ooh, cool bit of roof work there. Kind of dealing with the fact that there's stuff growing through the damaged roof. Like it. Good thinking. And also, the eye line being pulled down means that the extra height doesn't look too weird, because sometimes it can. Very, very cool. Yeah, definitely feel like that workbench is a bit of a single-use thing, or a single scenario thing, that car weapons workbench. So, definitely one that I have decided to pass on, but if you wanted to stay here, I can imagine why you would, because this is a really, really cool build if you don't change them up quite as often as I do. Really, really cool kitchen as well. Managed to squeeze a lot of stuff in here. I still haven't managed to quite clock where Yasmin's cooking station is. I'm guessing I think it might actually be merged into the back there, which looks really cool. It is very, very well done. As far as having something that actually matches the options in there, the cooking station is one of the few that does. We definitely need functional cooking stations that match those pre-war kitchens, please, and thank you, Bethesda. Yeah, I like this build. Lots of detail, really nails the theme really, really well. Very, very cool little camp, and yeah, impressed. A little nice use of mixed materials there. The workshop pieces blend in really nicely with the ash heap. Spot on. So, to wrap things up, we're going to head back to Skyline Valley, right down at the very, very, very bottom of the map here, for a clean camp build. And yeah, I think this one fits that bill from KT186. This one, I really, really like some of the features on it. It's really cool. It's got a modern vibe, but not too modern. A lot of the modern builds will look out of place and like they don't belong with the art style of Fallout. They're cool builds, but they're not very Fallout-y. It's a technical term, Fallout-y. This one works, I think, so I like that. I imagine it's quite the faff to pull off from a couple of the details on here, but we'll get to those in a minute. Like the water wheel, love this bridge. The sort of front aspect and the bridge entrance is definitely, I think, yeah, my favourite part of the whole build. It looks really, really cool. Putting the roof over the bridge there, using the pavilion roofs, looks absolutely awesome. It's a really nice combo. Nice touch and attention to detail point that's worth mentioning. The water wheel is the right way round. So the water is flowing underneath it and pushing the wheel in the right direction. It's easy to not pay attention to that sort of thing, and if you spot it being the wrong way, then it becomes jarring. In this case, I've spotted it being the right way, so kudos. I like the little touches of detail and decor out here. Fully understand the use of the stash box and the scrap box and stuff right out front. Makes sense to have those where you can get to them first, because it's probably going to be the first place you go when you get back to your camp. Let's cross this bridge. Lots of little bits that just kind of work here. The hanging vines, not over a wall. That works really, really well. They've done an impressive job of actually getting those to stay put. Curious how it's done. Probably not particularly difficult, but very, very cool. Adds a kind of enclosed feeling when you're in there, but doesn't close it off from the outside at the same time, which is an interesting dichotomy. It works quite nicely. That pink door looks really, really cool as well on this build and in general. I don't know if I ever picked that one up, or if I've just kind of scrolled past it, but still, I like the look of that. Love seeing a cooking station, or, well, it's the pemmican producing thing, not really a cooking station, but on the fireplace, the fire pit. Definitely a trick I use fairly regularly, usually with a cooking station, but a good addition, that. Can recommend. Nice little seat under the arch here. It's quite a nice combo, and a little bit of merging, well, not actually merging with that cage in the back corner there, because you can just push stuff straight inside it. It's quite easy to do. It looks absolutely great. It's a nice combo, that. Definitely worth playing around with. And we'll head back through the gap here. That's really, really cool. I like the way they've managed to offset these two greenhouse walls, these being the cleaner set of greenhouses, to create that kind of almost Japanese-esque sliding wall vibe. Really, really cool idea. I imagine the glitching to get that to work was mildly headache-inducing. But it is a very, very cool effect nonetheless. Definitely like the look of this place. The little outside balconies and stuff work really nicely. Nice, cosy little bathroom. Fully understand the impulse to merge under that sink. The legs on it are particularly spindly and ugly. Not unrealistic, I have to admit, but still spindly and ugly. You do have the drawback, as I mentioned before, of the wooden table, or in this case bookshelf, clipping through the bottom of the sink bowl though, and then you see wood when you look down into the sink, which is... you have one or you have the other, I fear, but it is what it is. This bed is an interesting merge job. Yeah, I like the whole idea of a kind of raised platform type bed with the staircase and stuff there and the improvised one. Looks really, really cool. Nice job done on that. Yeah. I always feel like that particular hunter's bed, the bedding should be a little bit more three-dimensional than it is. But what can we do? It's otherwise quite cool and blends in with the colour scheme of this place. Better than perhaps most other options would, I think. But yeah, definitely a really cool structure that's been created there. Curious about that wall light. I don't think I've seen that anywhere else before. I may have just skated past it. I probably have seen it at some stage. But quite cool nonetheless. Mentioned this before, but having their vines on the outside, when you're up here and inside this balcony, especially with the pavilion roofs again, makes you feel like you're inside, just about. Inside, outside, or outside, inside, depending on how you want to look at it. But when you're looking at the build from the outside, you kind of see straight through it as if they're almost not there. So you kind of get two different effects from the one thing, which is really, really cool. And I think they should be sufficient to stop you walking off the edge as well from a practical angle, which is really, really nice as well. I love this staircase. It's from the fort set, which I can't remember if that was a season reward or an atomic shop thing. It was back into the summer, I think, wasn't it? Very, very cool. Very, very, very annoying, however, that it still snaps to the middle of the darn foundation instead of following the walls. Grrr. Sorted out, Bethesda. You've had 6 years. It's a pet peeve of that mine, that we can't place those at the edge. Why would we want them in the middle of the foundation? Who would want that? Grrr. Old man yells at cloud. You know. But yeah, I do like that. It's a nice look to this thing that combines the modern and manages to just about cling on to that Fallout vibe and also blends slightly into the hill behind, which is cool. So, there we have it. Kicking the year off with a look at 3 very, very cool camps. Looking forward to diving back into a bit of building myself. Got a couple of ideas tucked away. Just need to have the stars align and actually sit down and do the darn thing. So, yeah, builds are inbound. And of course, I have no doubt there'll be tons and tons of new stuff. But for now, huge props to everybody whose camps featured today. Definitely enjoyed having a look around those. Some very cool ones. Have to dive back into the wasteland and try and find some more cool ones for future videos now. Yeah, enjoyed looking around those. If you guys enjoyed the video, please do consider dropping subs and likes. I very much appreciate it. Got social media links down below if you want to catch up with me on Blue Sky or on Instagram. Those are your best bets. And yeah, as I say, join those live streams soon enough. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.